Today we're going to be playing some vampires. I haven't played vampires in a while, and I thought it was time to try them out again. Vampires usually isn't the best deck, but it's really fun, and a lot of people like it, so we're going to play it out and see how it goes. There's basically 3 versions of vampires in my mind, the last version being the most recent one, but we'll talk about them right now before we go over the deck selection. There's non-devotion vampires, which relies more heavily on neutral control tools to kind of stay relevant. So stuff like Heat Wave, cards like that can just control things and allow you to stay in the game against big cards. Then there's the devotion types, of which I think there's 2. There's the Witch's Sabbath version, which is the new version, and with the new Witch's Sabbath, wherever it is, the 10, I know it's here, Witch's Sabbath. This is the one of the new versions. The idea being here is you summon your 3 highest power monster units from your graveyard, and they will be Cave Troll and Unseen Elder, preferably with Nethril to the melee row, or you can also do it with Decklist if you want to. But that's the idea there. Or you can do the version I'm doing, which is a devotion version, but without the Witch's Sabbath. Reason why is kind of concerned we'll get just everything banished, and I like the devotion version a bit better. It just kind of feels right. And Unseen Elder gets way better with devotion. He still has the same amount of damage over time, but he does the damage much faster with the devotion ability. And also lets you run cards like the On-El Conquerors, because you're really missing a low provision like tempo play, and On-El Conqueror really helps fit that in here. So I like devotion. Yeah, so this is going to be a devotion non-Witch's Sabbath version. Let's take a look at the cards that we're running. We are running the Crystal Skull. You could theoretically play Ceremonial Dagger, but we're not going to. We're playing Crystal Skull. We want to protect our Neckarats in particular, and Crystal Skull is the best way to do that. Crystal Skull is very similar to the Carapace, so Carapace is what we're running. It protects your stuff, +3 and Veil. Crystal Skull is +4 and Veil. It's basically the Carapace charge with an extra point. Extra point being particularly useful on Neckarat as it gets it right out of range of 6 damage removal. So we're playing Unseen Elder, obviously. Card's crazy. Love this card. So much fun. Yeah, you just put bleeding on something, and then he puts bleeding out every turn and just ticks during your turn with the devotion. So if you put on something that's a 1 power, you can, obviously a waste of extra bleeding, but you can kill it, which is nice. You got the Crimson Curse, puts bleeding everywhere and gives you 2 Ekamaras. Plays for 16 if it all the damage hits, which is pretty good. Well, it's really good. And also has a lot of synergy with your deck. The Decklist had his buff a little while back where he has basically he spawns Blood Moon for 2 turns, increased duration by 1 for each adjacent vampire. I believe it used to be 1 turn, and 1 turn for each adjacent vampire, so this is a nice change. It was a month or 2 ago, I think. It's not a big deal. What does help is when they changed the power of Ekamara, it gave Crimson Curse +2 power and him +1 power on every time you get his order off. That was a while ago. And it's not the biggest of deals, but it's certainly nice. And Decklist ability, if you damage a bleeding unit by 1, well, you damage a bleeding unit by 1, and Death Blow spawns Ekamara. If that goes off, it's fantastic. Problem is, going off is unlikely, but we'll see if we can make it work. Naglfar, because we're playing Devotion and we want to look through our cards. Cave Troll for some protection. We have 3 cards we really want to protect. The Oriana, the Unseen Elder, and the Nethril. Decklist you can protect as well, but usually his order is not that big a deal. I guess we'll throw him in there. And Cave Troll protects them, so we wanted to run that. Oriana I'm not the biggest fan of, but we're giving her a shot. So ideally you play Oriana. You got to keep in mind though, she's not as bad as you might think. Like if she plays and then she boosts herself by like 3 and gets Heat Waved, it's okay because she still got her bleeding deploy off. It's not that bad of a trade. It's not like it's not like you play Old Spear Tip then the Heat Wave. It's not an even trade. You got some extra value from her bleeding on deploy. But she might get moved, and that's annoying, so we have Cave Troll. But we'll see if we can't make her work. She has a little bit of anti-synergy with Unseen Elder in the fact that he makes the bleedings go away faster, which means her boost is less, but honestly, if she gets going at all, it's really strong. Usually you're not going to see it work out, but it's an extra threat that the opponent has to answer, and if it does go unanswered, it's a really big one. Imlerith's Wrath. I wanted more control. We have a few control cards I threw in here. Imlerith's Wrath is, we have the On-El Conquerors and the Cave Trolls are 7s. It's not the biggest thing, however, you can always get taller damage with this because of Crystal Skull. So, say you play, I don't know, play a card, And then the opponent has something as big, you can put a Carapace charge or 2 out if it's a really big deal, and then Aimless Wrath to target for extra damage. So it's not that bad. Mithril, if you have Dominance, he's fantastic. You're going to get Dominance. You're going to put a leader charge on him. He's one of the leader charge targets. You have 3 leader charge targets, Mithril, Unseen Elder, and then the last one's flexible. You can put it on Detlef if you need to, or you can put it on a Nekarat, which is what I would probably do. So yeah, we have the Mithril, so good. Toad Prince, still probably my favorite card of the set of changes. So good. I love a new Toad Prince. It's going in all my monsters decks. It's such good removal, especially in a faction that can struggle for removal. It's nice to have him. Really nice. Wisp's Tribute pulls us an organic. We have a couple choices here. We have Crimson Curse being the best one. Then we have the Parasite as 6 damage, and I also threw in a Natural Selection into Feast of Bloods, just for a bit more control in case we go against an engine deck with a 1 Natural Selection, and then 2 Feast of Bloods. Feast of Blood is really good. It removes Purifies, so you don't need a Peller, and then it does 3 damage, and then if you have a Vampire, it does Bleeding. So if you're playing Vampires, it does 6 damage over time with Bleeding synergy and Purifies. Really nice. No reason to run any of the other Purify cards when you have this, unless you want to purify your own unit, of course. Which we don't have to worry about too much because of the Carapace. We were up here on Wisp's Tribute. She searches all those. Gale's interesting. I like Gale. You could high roll Gale really hard if you try. But even if he hits a 4, I mean, if you have Bleeding on something that was a 4 and it's down to like 1, we'll even just say this. Say you put a Nekarat charge on a 4 power card, right? And then the next turn you Gale it. Gale does 2 extra damage, then boosts himself by 4. It's a 10 for 7. It's pretty good. And that's just like a low roll. You can get better than that, obviously. Apparent Phantom. I just like the Apparent Phantom. And again, it gives us a little more damage cards. It's an engine that also gives us damage. I like that. I like having these control options here. And something with this, and then like maybe with your Natural Selection, or this with some Bleeding, you can kill stuff, which is useful, obviously. Parasite for control. Queen of the Night, again for Purify, if we need it. This is the only one that can purify our own cards. And then we have the Bleeding 3 to an enemy, which isn't bad either. Just feel like running her. The 2 Flutters. This is your biggest engine. Well, it's your biggest bronze engine that won't get killed without a leader charge. Throw that on there, because Nekarat's really good. If he's not dead. So, when the opponent gives Bleeding, you gain Vitality the same amount. You don't want to be... Well, this doesn't trigger right away with Blood Moon. So Blood Moon's the start of your opponent's turn against the Vitality, so it's not going to tick. But if you do something like play Flutter and use a Nekarat charge, or play... Yeah, that's probably the best use. And then he gets the Vitality. It's really nice. He starts ticking up really quick. Also, if you have the Unseen Elder out, you could do some stuff with him too. He gets really tall eventually because the opponent's not going to want to use tall removal on him, but they might have to. Usually this thing ends up like a 10 or so, which is pretty good. Then you have the Nekarat. Nekarat is your premier engine of the bronzes, but it's going to die unless you leader charge it, which is kind of why we're playing Carapace in addition to other stuff. The best thing to open with is Crystal Skull on this, if you have the option. You can even use, like, I wouldn't necessarily do that first, but you can if you're holding a Flater or something, because they'll play as 7. Then just gotta watch out for people who are running movement. Movement's annoying. Mentioned the Feast of Blood, mentioned Natural Selection. On Elk Conquerors, we said it's just a big tempo play, and we have 2 Bruxes. Now, looking at the other Vampire cards, there are some things you could run. For example, you have we're playing Devotion. Alp's not bad, it gets you set up, and it's a 9 for 5 overtime, but I find Alp's too slow. And then you have Garkin. I didn't want to go too much on engine cards here, just because I think Control is really popular. Nekarat's a better engine, and Flutter's taller, so it's harder to answer. So we went with those over Garkin. And Garkin also requires the Bleeding setup, whereas these don't. I mean, Flutter does, but it's easier because he's not going to die. This comes down as a 5 after the 1 turn of boosting as well. But Flater is not that bad because you can throw him down and sometimes he just won't die because 4 damage doesn't quite get to him. And I like Bruxa better than Garkin. You can also swap Garkin for the Unnailed Conquerors if you want more pure synergy there, but I want the Unnailed Conquerors. They're playing Devotion, and I thought it'd help out with Aimless Wrath a little bit. And we have the Plumars you could put in, but I think other than that, I quite like the deck. Proto-Flater is an option instead of Oriana if you want. You could also use Proto-Flater instead of Aimless Wrath and drop a Vision somewhere else. I'm just not convinced on the Proto-Flater. I know it's pretty solid. It does 3 bleeding, then boosts itself. but I preferred the damage and drain version for obvious reasons. But it's not bad, and you can certainly get it to stack up a bunch of points. But again, I don't want to go too tall here. I'm not going to go too tall other than with a leader charge and stuff. So maybe Unseen Elder gets to 9, but that's about it. I don't want to go too tall. Gale can get a little bigger, but stuff like Flater will be a decently big as well. I just don't want to stack like 20 bleedings to something, then go Proto Flater on it. You know what I'm saying? It's not a bad card though. Anyway, that's the deck, and we'll get into some games here. Should be pretty interesting. Alright, let's play some vampires. What do we have here? Earth Sign Ritual, so probably Lippy. This could be really difficult. It all depends. We're going to have to win round 1, I think. If he pushes us round 2 with the Lippy combo potential, I think we lose. So we're going to have to either commit... This is what Lippy's really good at, and in my opinion, why Lippy's really strong, is what you could do is you load your Lippy combo round 1, and you go to round 2. And round 2, the opponent has to play in such a way they maintain enough points that if you go for the Lippy combo, as a Lippy player, the opponent doesn't go up. Play goes backwards. If you're playing against Lippy, you have to play in such a way that if they do their combo, you're not way behind and have to go down cards round 3. In order to do that, why is there a Strays of Spala? Why is this here? Is this a Shoop deck? That's annoying. Anyway, yeah, we're going to get some Necrot value till that happened. Anyway, so like I was saying with Lippy, if you're playing against them, you have to maintain enough points and have enough of a big swing in your hand that if they go play their Ceres the second time round 2 with Lippy, you don't just like fall too far behind. You have to have that option. So it kind of forces you to commit earlier. Okay, this is what I was kind of expecting, the Blue Boy Lugos. Maybe it'll not kill our Bruxa. It probably will, though. Yeah, it will. So, like I was saying here, to avoid that situation, we have to win round 1. Problem is, we got our Necker outmoved, and he played his Blue Boy Lugos already. So, not looking so hot. We could kill this, but then we lose out on all the bleeding value. We just go Flutter. Let's go Flutter. We need more engines. We could also Toad Prince this, but I don't really want to. I want Toad Prince in my hand still. We need engine setup, not these big deploy swings. That's what we need for round 2. And potentially 3. I want to save Unseen Elder for round 3. We're going to need a power card to handle the Ceres, the second one. We might have to play him here, though, to have a chance. It's more important to win this round than save him. Problem with him right now is if he hits Blue Boy Lugos, get kind of wrecked. I think we just play our second Flutter. We can go second Flutter, and then go Wisp Tribute into Crimson Curse. Wouldn't be bad. Yeah, let's do that. Now, like I said, though, he's going to want to win this round for the exact reason we said we don't want him to win the round, so he can push us round 2. And so he's going to keep playing, and these Flutters should get some value. Oh, it's Megascope version. Yeah, we absolutely have to win this round, then. Let's throw down Unseen Elder. We need the points. Did we leader him? No, we need the leader charges for round 2 also. If he's playing this version, he's not going to have to use a Scorpion Decoction. He might have Heatwave. They usually have like Heatwave, Crimson Curse. Or Heatwave and Curse of Corruption. That's why we dodge Curse of Corruption, and they'll have to Heatwave this. If we boost, they'll just get Heatwaved anyway. And then it'll be a guaranteed target for Curse of Corruption. They usually run both. Let's see what this is. Yeah, like I said, if we use a leader on it, it's getting taller, and this deck doesn't run Geek Scorpion Decoction, so leaving my 6 is fine. I probably is getting Slash. We have no damage cards. Wisp Tribute. I think we have the Crimson Curse too. We have to throw it on everything, I think. Melee just so we don't hit Blue Boy. And let's get ticking on these Flutters. They're going to have to carry us this round. Hopefully he doesn't play anything big so we can kind of get away with playing or a Feast of Blood next. I'd like to get away with playing that. I say get away with, I mean have a low enough tempo turn. I don't feel bad playing it. These Heatwave usually have They might. Sometimes they play Igni instead of Curse of Corruption. That would be really annoying. Probably should have split our flighters up. That was a long time ago. It's usually Curse of Corruption. Not Igni anymore. Let's go Naglfar. Let's see. I can stack one of those and then play the other. Gales has a nice target here. Right there. It's not bad. Now we're up by a significant amount of points. The thing is, if he's Igni or Scorch, it's coming down right now. But I don't think he is. I think it's Crimson Curse. Or not Crimson Curse, Curse of Corruption. Curse of Corruption and Heatwave is usually what they play. Gales is melee locked. So. I was kind of hoping he'd leave after we played Gales. But I guess here we go. There's no way he keeps going here. We have too many points. And yeah, there's the pass. Then we just go to round 3 and we don't get bled out. Might still be difficult. We don't have Crimson Curse or Unseen Elder anymore. We're going to want to draw out Detlef. I like bleeding opponents, but Lippy's not something you bleed. Not if you want to win. Well, I mean, you can, but not with vampires. We're not bleeding with vampires. I mean, we are bleeding him, but not in the strategic sense. You know what I'm saying. We want to go to round 3 and then have our engines going. If you have a bigger tempo swing than Lippy, you can push him round 2 and force it out. Or if you're like a really if you're playing Caranther Kosha, you can do it. But I wouldn't recommend it. I think it's usually better to go to the long round 3 with them. Sure, they have their big point slam plays, but they don't really run engines. And the long round engines kind of dominate. And we're going to have plenty. Alright, we lose something that's irrelevant. I don't even know what it was. But okay. This is the problem of the Sabbath version, which is Sabbath version, is you get yourself banished. Alright, there's Detlef. This is actually really good. Feast of Blood, probably not. They don't have defenders. Parasite might be useful. Okay. We really wanted Oriana. Didn't get her. So we know he has Ownermancy. We know he has Heatwave when he Lippies. But it's not in his hand. He probably is holding Curse of... He's certainly holding a second tall removal. Usually it's Curse of Corruption. And if it was Igni, he would have played it already. Round 1. So I'm pretty sure it's Curse of Corruption. We gotta play around it. How do we play around it? It's Burna. I think we still open Cave Troll. We're just not gonna put leader charges on things unless we have to. Nithrol's the most important because he's 2 points a turn unconditionally. Detlef is theoretically better, but he's not going to get his order off. We'll play this. If he has Curse of Corruption, I expect him to hold off and see if we boost something behind this Cave Troll. The Thrall's our next play. They were not going to leader him. This guy does have Straits of Spala, remember. He might have a second one, but that'd be pushing it. Straits of Spala would really hurt our entire game plan quite a bit. So we have Nithrol first, then we go Nekarat, then we go Parian Phantom, get those engines going. Then we play Detlef. Should give us enough turns to make full advantage of the Crimson Curse. Nice, we tanked some damage there. Every time the Cave Troll takes damage, he's less likely to kill it because of the sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost of damage into it already, he's not going to want to hit it with a tall removal. Doesn't mean it's bad. Hit the Cave Troll again. Let's go. We have to figure out how big his finisher is while we're doing this. That's alright. His finisher is what? It's Ceres. It's 4, makes a lady. That's 8. The lady takes 1 damage. That's 7. That spawns the bear abomination. That's 13. The lady summons out 4 more. He's got a 29-point finisher. That's going to be rough. Pretty rough. Vampires are not the strongest deck. Thing is, if we go Parry and Phantom here, we go Detlef. I think we go Detlef. Do we boost Detlef is the question. If we don't boost him, there's a chance he kills off one of our other engines with a Curse of Corruption, and they're actually more valuable than he is. Because his death blow is not going to go off in at most one time. So I think we boost him. Now if he has Curse of Corruption, he'll play it here. Nekarat's like 2 a turn. Mithril is 2 a turn. He's 1 a turn, potentially 1, maybe a 4. But I don't think it's going to go off, so I think it's better this way. We'll just take the Curse of Corruption here. Because right now, if he Curse of Corruption, I'd rather have all these cards than Detlef, I think. Oh, he doesn't have it. Okay.
Listen well.
Nice, we took more damage on the Cave Troll. Perfect. The only thing that would have been better to take it on is Detlef. We could have also played our Toad Prince last turn. I was mentioning things that could take... Oh, we actually get Detlef's order off here. So we're going to get it off anyway. Perfect. That's worth quite a bit. It's actually only worth 3, not 4, because the damage doesn't happen from bleeding anyway. Just put this Parry and Phantom out. We're ahead. Detlef's not going to get his order off again. Oh, that's Curse of Corruption. So he did have it. Oh, we got extra 3 points by him holding off. So he's holding Odormancy and Lippy for his last 2 cards, which means we can play as greedily as we want. Probably best to hit this. So we know he has 29 points, then 3 plus 3 plus 3, so 6, 9. He has 37 more points, and that's it. So the question is, I think we Toad Prince here. It doesn't matter. There's no more interactions here. We know he's going to get another 38 points, I think. And that'll be it, because it's going to give him Roach and Knickers. And then he takes 4, well, he's going to take 4 bleeding. Okay, we'll just wait now, we can figure it out easier. 22, he's going to have another 29, he's going to end at 51. That's a lot. We need another 20. We do have engine value here. Nekarat's last order isn't going to do much, because it's not going to do anything. I'll conquer. I think we win by a... Maybe. It's going to be really close. This is going to be close.
A fitting gift for our...
He's going to go to 51, then minus 2, so 49. We need 10. We've got 6, 3. I think we win by 1. If I did the math right, we win this game by 1. Really close. We have 2 from Nithril, 3 from Parent. Yeah, we win by 1. We cannot, as long as we Parasite the Bear Abomination or boost ourselves with Parasite. What a game. That was a good game. Game 2, Blaze of Glory Warriors. The last one was a really good game. It's a good thing we got off our Detlef order. He should have played... If he played Curse of Corruption a turn earlier, I think he wins. Yeah, I think he wins. You don't get that order off from Detlef. But it's a good thing we didn't let him Curse of Corruption or Nithril or Nekarat. Blaze of Glory here. This will be harder. Vampires isn't the strongest deck, but there's matchups that are harder. Personally, I think the hardest stuff is no unit type things, because you don't get your bleeding value, but it's not a square tail deck, so it's probably not a no unit deck. Warriors is the other issue, because you have a lot of control. Okay, we're doing this again, because this guy's not playing Crazy Spala, he's playing Devotion. So there's no movement in his deck. He might just go double damage on us, but I don't think so. He wants to develop a unit. There we go. We Toad Prince that.
That's what we are.
It's not ranged. Go Flater Engine. It's gonna be the guy who does 1 damage to himself and then hits us. If it's ranged, just for Longship. So the thing is, if he doesn't actually have that set up yet, we can Gels this, but he's gonna have it. Is it Drummond Berserker? Is it? I think that's it. I don't want to Toad Prince it. We could Toad Prince the Drone Berserker. That'd be pretty good. But really, Toad Prince is a power card here. I don't really want to commit it. I'm going to play Parent Phantom. The reason I don't want to play Toad Prince is because he's going to have probably Brockvar Hunters later on. Or he's going to resurrect this thing with Herald, and then we want to kill it then. It's less important we kill it now. Obviously, it's going to be important. We could have Wisp Tributed it with our... what's it called? It does 4 damage. Natural Selection, we could have done that. But again, Wisp Tribute pulls our Crimson Curse out, so I don't want to do that, because we're going to want that access. That's a really good card. Let's see what he goes for. We have 3 engines going. This should be sufficient. The thing is, I don't want to commit any of the cards in my hand that I left. They're all solid gold cards. So, maybe it is time. Let's Parasite the guy. Let's just Parasite. Stop that from ticking, and with these engines going, we have the round. It's just we have the round as long as we're not forced to play more cards. If we start getting forced to play these, I'm going to be a little unhappy. Actually, very unhappy. But Necrot Flater's 3 points a turn, and we got another point a turn on Parent Phantom. It's 4 a turn. That's so much. Especially against him, who's not playing very many engines of his own. We have to watch out for round 3. That's the thing.
Blood for foul blood!
Oh, that's annoying. That was not the target. Just kidding, it was the target. Everything else is Veil. But when we bleed, that should come off real quick. We could just Oriana. I'm not a fan. I don't want to play anything. We could just Toad Prince the ship too. Yeah, I guess we'll Toad Prince. Let's take it. I should get him out of here. Get him out of here. Go. I don't want to keep playing. I want to go to round 2. If we have to keep playing, we can Gels and then Necrot. Or Necrot then Gels and kill this Bjorn for low value, but we could. Might be better to get the 3 damage. It's a 7 for 7 play then. It's a 6 for 7 on Vabjorn, even with a Death Blow. The boost is solo. We could also use our Parent Phantom Order on this Berserker. The one in the middle, then Necrot it, then hit it with Gills. Parent Phantom stops boosting, but then Gills plays for, we get 10 point swing there. That wouldn't be awful. I mean, he loses 6, we get 10, but that uses up both our orders. Let's Whisper's Tribute. Could also just go for Detlef. Huh. Interesting. We could use both our orders on the middle guy. That'd be bad. I think we just play Detlef. Gales has high roll potential here. Yeah, Gales has high roll potential because of Greatsword and Yetta. So I don't really want to commit Gales right now. Also don't think we need to. This should be by far enough. Problem is he's kind of forcing us to play stuff I didn't want to play. I think we just throw Oriana down next. Oriana's not going to live. I'd rather have... we play Gels next, because he's going to lose 1 on the Berserker. We can kill it. We'll go Gels. But you look at the provisions that have been committed this round, we've committed way more, just because our hand was so full of gold cards. He kind of has to pass here, though. His deck's much weaker without the veterans going. Look like, what's it called? Okay, guys. Very nice. Go to long round 3. It's our advantage. The problem is he might have too much control for us, but we're gonna have to find out. Gonna have to find out. There's Unseen Elder. Good to see him. He's not gonna have defenders. Put Queen of the Night back. Queen Light only plays for 9 here. There's better cards.
You'll not touch my wee ones. I'll not let you.
Oh, please bleed yourself. He's not going to, obviously. Whatever he plays next to it will have Veil. Or be a Drone Berserker. Okay, these are not really the cards I wanted here. Oh, that's really not the card I wanted. What are we missing? We can access Crimson Curse. We can access a different card than Crimson Curse. If we draw it. It's back. Okay, that's not what I wanted to see. But it's good here, so we can kill this thing. That's nice. How do I keep Unseen Elder alive? How do I keep Cave Troll alive?
Look closely, kiddos. Unlike the Regis mother.
We can Cave Troll Leader. That puts it to what? See, right now it's an 11, so his ability kills it. The Blaze of Glory, Yoda kills it. I don't want him to commit more than that to kill it, so I think we'll Leader here, because we don't have anything else. The Veil's not going to be too important. It's the value of the cards that's going to be important here. Let's do this. Now when he Yodas us, he can't kill it. Morkvarg on this is not a great target for Morkvarg, and that's his tall removal card. Morkvarg and Blaze of Glory with Yoda. We could boost it again if he damages it. But we don't want to get too tall. I just want him to commit more damage into it. Okay, good. That's kind of what I wanted. I'm happy with that now if he Yodas us. Or Blaze of Glory is it now, I'm happy. We've made him waste that. I think we just go Unseen Elder? No, he's got Veil. We can remove the Veil, but we need a Vampire out to remove it. Maybe we just go Necrot. Necrot's good value over time. I like that. We'll give players Necrot, and then hopefully we get a chance to purify off that lady in the back and get bleedings going. This will be iced, assuredly. He's not going to spend more damage on this. Yeah, there's the ice.
My beauteous Kalanth.
Yoda.
May Freya choose the victor.
Well, let's see. Do we go Bruxa? Go Unseen Elder? I think go Unseen Elder.
That's nice.
He could have Trinky. He could have... We'll go for this. Hopefully Unseen Elder hits the ice then, not the Veil card. Okay, it was worth a shot. But he's going to put the bleeding on something that's not already bleeding. And I didn't want to just start spending bleeding on the Skirmisher. We had a 50-50 there to get some more value. Oh, Morkvarg coming in.
They wouldn't dare cross me.
You know, he might have Gutting Slash, but that's not active yet. Let's remove this and get these bleedings going. Oriana would be a good play, but we also want to get the Crimson Curse out soon. Yeah, the Gutting Slash lane is, we only have 1 damage point. We want to make sure we bleed this ice down so that he doesn't get its ability triggered again when we kill something with bleeding during his turn. Keep that in mind. Gales on the Skirmisher would be pretty good, but we need to get this Crimson Curse out soon, and we also need Oriana soon, so that's not going to happen. Yeah, we'll go Crimson Curse here. And go melee. We want to get some stuff on ice. Roughly this goes on... did we put this on ice? I think we put this on Yoda. No ice. We want ice to die. We want ice to die. We have 6 damage from our what's it called here? Our Endless Wrath. We can hit 6 damage on Yetta. It goes to 2. We can't do that yet because the bleeding will kill it from Unseen Elder. Let's put this melee, try and take some of this. I think we just play Oriana. Nah. Do we remove the... I want Yetta damaged, so we can potentially get a Gales on it. Put this bleeding out somewhere. That's just a better backup target. We can always Gales the Skirmisher. Well, it's at 1, but he doesn't have to have bleeding. He does have 1 damage with his Death Blow. It only goes up to 3 if there's bleeding. So if we leave it at 1, we can still hit that for, what is that? 5 damage plus 7, that's a 12. It's really good value. This is Blood Eagle still, and Blood Eagle to get his change. But he needs Bloodthirst 3. Oh, Fuchsia. That's right. Fuchsia, Anti-Gutting Slash. Okay, it's not that bad. We're going to take that damage anyway. We lose that. Now, we are down 20 points, which is a lot, but hopefully Oriana can do something to help us out here. Yeah, I think our best chance is to try and get an Endless Wrath. That's unfortunate that hit that Herald. I was hoping it would hit. Our biggest chance, I think, is if we get the Gales to kill the Yutta. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Unfortunately. We don't have much more bleeding for Oriana, so she's not getting much bigger than this. We would have gotten a lot more, well, I guess, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 more points if that Crimson Curse went on Babjorn instead of Heralds, but we could play this on the Skirmisher and play Endless Wrath last. Well, that's not the Skirmisher, but you know what I'm saying. We could also play Endless Wrath now. It does 6. Again, I wanted this 6 to be on Yutta. I'll set this up. Now we have 2 targets for Gales, but unfortunately here, we're going to lose, I think. Oh, Savagery. It's going to be closer than it looks right now, but we are going to lose, unfortunately. Good game. GG. Let's do one more. One more. Hopefully we don't run into another Skellige player. I've played enough Skellige. Not that I hate them or anything. Okay, we have Frost. Unfortunately, this is probably a really bad matchup. The reason why is that Wild Hunt Frost has very strong tempo. They have the most movement of any deck in the game. With the enemy movement. With the exception of some kind of crazy movement only deck for journeys. But like any like standard deck, they have by far the most movement. The reason is they have the 2 leader charges and it's out the 2 Wild Hunt Bruisers, and they have Auberon Conqueror to make another Bruiser. They have potentially 5 movements, and they usually have 4. Predatory Dive. Alright, you got me. You got me. I didn't expect you to randomly play Predatory Dive, so play Flater. That wasn't that bad though. Annoying, not bad. Hopefully this isn't a no-unit Frost deck. That is a thing sometimes that I've seen. I don't really want to play a no-unit deck with a vampire deck. Kind of looks like that's what this is, though. Oh, we got Queen of the Night. Let's just go second Flighter. What if we make him play Ardgaith? We just split this range and make him play Ardgaith now. They can play his Ardgaith. There it is. Now you could argue we could dodge these Ardgaiths, but it's never going to happen. He's going to use leader charges to move it. And these cards are definitely going to get some value from the bleedings we're about to throw out. Maybe we just Toad Prince that. I don't want to deal with it. Yeah, Toad Prince is the most value here. We'll take some damage. Now, these players are getting a little low, but they're going to get taller, so it's not that bad. They're not going to die. We can just put something else ranged. Okay, that's annoying because that's gonna avail. So we could go Queen of the Night. We could Queen of the Night and then put Crystal Skull in our ranged fighter, keep it alive. It won't be able to get any more vitalities, but it'll still get the 3 from this. And we're not going to need the Purify against him unless it's... We can also Parasite. Let's do this.
Your blood smells.
Feels pretty bad killing off a Death Wish card with bleeding, but it gives him 2 points. It gives us more than that. Alright, there's that guy. So, let's see what we do. We could Parasite his guy. Could Parasite ourselves to avoid him having Dominance. As long as he doesn't have Dominance, it's a lot less scary. That's an Oriana. Let's go Oriana here. Oriana's going to bait out a movement. I guess not bait out, she's going to require a movement. I really want him to use these leader charges up now. I guess he could Parasite her.
Your deepest, darkest
That's an
dreams
interesting answer, so you
lie
have to move the Oriana still. Yeah, wait, that wasn't Oriana. Wait, I'm confused. Anyway, that's interesting. We get off this. Let's go Detlef. We really want this round 1. Or if we don't get round 1, we want him to use both leader charges. So the round 2 push is worse. Do we use a leader here? I think we deny the dominance. Now he can't. Now his Eridan's less good, and he can't wild hunt riders. Yeah, the one Flater arranged got us 8 value, and the Crystal Cell stopped it from getting more. That's probably good enough. Maybe we shouldn't have played them both split, but I want him to open Artgate. Just so we could kind of have it out of the way and dealt with. Because if the Artgate is going, once they have their engines already set up, then you're in trouble. Okay, we survived that. We have our own Naglfar's or Emilith's Wrath, but... Do we pass? He's gone 1 leader charge. We're not going to lose on even. I think we... Do we? No, I don't think so. That's a damage. We can Parasite for dominance again. That wouldn't be bad. Oh, you boost. Let's boost this Flater. He's not going to want to kill it. Oh, that's okay. We could have kind of expected that to land on the Veil card eventually. We still have dominance. As long as we have dominance, I don't think he beats us in a 1 card. He could leader Eridan. That plays for what, 10? We're still fine. Is that what's happening right now? Because we have dominance, not him. If we get... Okay, so it is leader Eridan. Nice. I will pass. We can pass here. Like I said, we didn't want to lose round 1 unless we took up both of his leader charges, and we did. So kind of met our objective there. We also got rid of Eridan. Oriana's going to be hard to find value. And there's the riders. So like I mentioned, we tried to deny the dominance as long as possible. But in the end, he got it. Expected. But no more Eridan. And no more leader charges, so I think we're good. We committed, I think, 1 leader. Did we commit a leader charge? I don't think we did. We have all 3 still, so that's good. We also have his movements on demand, so now he actually has to play Wild Hunt Bruisers if he wants to move us. And we use 1 leader charge.
Nothing rivals skinny.
Well, that's annoying.
Their hair, so silky.
Maybe we just play Nekarat and don't use his order. Maybe go Bruxa. Nekarat's higher potential. He's not going to have much damage. I'm not going to bother leadering it. If he kills it, that's fine. Just open it, then we just play Bruxa. There's the crew.
You'll not get far.
We could Bleeding the Crew. We could also Crimson Curse. I mean, we're going to Bleeding the Crew, but we can't quite get it with Gills. Let me just go Bruxa, give it more bleeding. I'm okay not going up a card here, just because we have power cards left over. There's the Beast. Do I care that much about the Beast? I mean, what are we going to do about it, really? Just to give it bleeding. This could be bad, but we need the units out. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. Okay, now here's something. Here's something that could happen. Now, we're gonna play Gills. We're gonna kill this Naglfar crew. The question is, do we use Leader Charge or not? Because if the Crimson Curse hits the Beast, it goes down to a 5. At the end of the turn, he goes back to a 7 and takes a bleeding. So he goes from down to a 14. He goes down to 12, he gets back up to 7, so he goes to 14, takes a bleeding, so 13. I believe the bleeding ticks before... Oh, well, that happened. So. All the thing is, if it didn't happen, the tallest thing is 7. So I think the Beast checks before bleeding, but I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure. I think the Beast would check his ability first, then the bleeding? I don't know. That might have been a 50-50 throughout the game. I'm honestly just not sure. If you guys know, let me know. I'll probably look it up at some point. Kind of curious. Honestly, it kind of passed, so I could find that out, but we ended up going with the 2 damage on him. Okay, we should be good here. We've got Cape Troll. He has Oberon Conqueror as a big play. We have Nithral. Nithral's good. Looks like this guy's not playing Wild Hunt Bruiser. I really like Bruiser. No reason to leader here. We want to control where the Frost is going, and I want to hit the Cave Troll because it has armor. It's probably Oberon Conqueror if he's thinking. What's it gonna be? Yeah, there he is. Okay, just go for more Frost. That's not a bad approach for him. A lot of engine value. We could Emulous Wrath, or we could Unseen Elder. I like Unseen Elder.
Why should I help you?
I guess we'll just hit here. Emulous Wrath will probably be the same amount of points on Conqueror versus one of these crew. And there's a high roll potential. Well, not a high roll, but there's a more value potentially if he plays a tall card. Maybe not on a Conqueror or something.
Naivety is a fool's blessing.
There's the Naglfar into Aparian Phantom. Yeah, that's the target for Emulous Wrath. That'll be the good one. We need 7-8 damage to do that. To hit the leader something. We're going to leader anyway. Make sure we do it before we click our Nithral's order. We hit here. This will be pretty close, but I think we have a good shot at taking it. Let him fire off 2 damage. And then we use buff something that's not Cave Troll. And what does he have? He takes 2 and gains 2, so he needs 11 to win. Yeah, we got him. GG. What do I think about the deck? What would I change? Honestly, there's not too much to change here just because you need so many vampire cards. Right? So, we're always sorted by vampire. The only thing you could really change around are which vampires. So, Anel Conqueror is one you could take out for vampire cards. You could take it out for the Garkin. Not a bad idea. I like it though, and I also like the one natural selection. You could take this out; it didn't do us much good. We also actually did do us; it helped us out a little bit. The one game, you could take it out. This for Garkin, not bad. Plumards, I'm not the biggest fan of. I've seen people with mushy truffle Plumards. I'm not convinced that's worth it. I'm really not convinced that's worth it. It might be, but I'm not a fan. As far as the top line here, you're going to want all of these. You could run non-devotion vampires, but that's a very different deck. So we'll just look at Devotion, Vampires, No Witch's Sabbath here. Speaking of Witch's Sabbath, though, that's an easier change to make than going into the non-devotion. What you could do is cut Oriana and then drop a provision here. Probably Queen of the Night you can drop too. They'll drop those. And then slip right in there with your Witch's Sabbath. The thing is I don't like about it is usually you're going to want that to be a non-devotion deck as well, because you want Onomancy to guarantee you see those cards. Again, so that takes a lot of setup, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. So I like this version. I just like plain Devotion Vampires the best. Let's just go with that. I like the Devotion Vampires the best. Non-Devotion Vampires are close second, but I don't really like the Witch's Sabbath version. I think it's too easily interfered with. That being said, if you're going to go with the well, speaking about what we have right here first, I think most of these cards are what you want. The only things you would swap are maybe Natural Selection, Unheld Conquerors, and then Queen of the Night is a flex spot. You can swap this around if you want. I'd keep the damage from Parasite. Apparent Phantom you could swap, but it's a really strong card in general, so I'd keep it. I like Gale. He has good potential. And the rest of this I think you definitely want, except maybe Oriana. You could take out Oriana. Now, what you could do, if you want to play the non-devotion version, which is pretty good as well, you just lose that little bit of Unseen Elder. You cut out Unheld Conqueror so you don't make it into an anti-highlight reel. Probably take out the Imlerith's Wrath, take out the Naglfar, and start with that. And I think we also take out Oriana at this point. Run like this. And then if we go to the neutrals, you're going to go with Onomancy. You're going to go with Heatwave for more control tools, because neutral brings you a lot of control tools. What did I say? Queen of the Night? Gotta take out the Queen of the Night too. You have the Purifies on the Feast of Blood. And with the Carapace, I don't think you need the Self-Purify, so you don't really need her. And you do this. And then you go back, you got 17 more provisions, and you can fit in what you want here. But it's probably going to be 4 provision cards. And look at the 4 provision cards. And Vampires. This is where you put in your Garkins, I think. Maybe Garkin or Plum Arts here. This wouldn't be bad. You've got 9. Actually, you can still keep Oriana. You can still do this and just keep the Oriana. Oriana or Proto Flavor. This is like a easy swap. You can pick one of these. Something like this, maybe. But maybe you want more control. Maybe you take out the Toad Prince or something. Or Oriana for another control card. But this is more of a non-devotion version you could run. Personally, I like the devotion a little bit more, because a lot of the fun in the deck does kind of come from Unseen Elder. But it's up to you. Play whatever you want. This is Vampires. It's still not great, even with a couple of buffs it's been receiving. However, we have a Regis journey, so I'm predicting in the next set, Vampires get a lot of support. And when that happens, we'll be there playing them, that's for sure. For now, though, hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.